Hi everyone, welcome to the presentation on preparing for your Oracle Sales Cloud upgrade to Release 12. My name is Anne and I'm a member of the Customer Experience Cloud Center of Excellence Best Practices team. During this presentation, I'm going to very quickly review some of the Release 12 highlights. Then I want to point you to the materials that can help you understand all the new features and see quite a few of them in action. After that, I'll review guidelines around upgrading. Those are best practices or tasks that you have to perform before your upgrade. And then I'll tie it all together under a project plan with a recommended time frame that you can follow. So let's start with the Release 12 highlights. Now, on a high level, we can say that there are 4 Release 12 themes: the new enterprise mobile application, data visualization capabilities, the new engagement cloud, and our expanded set of customer experience industry solutions. Now, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on these since other resources actually present more details, sometimes even demos about each of these. But one of those that I think everyone will want to use regardless of your industry is the new Oracle Sales Cloud Enterprise mobile application. Now, I'm sure you're familiar with our other mobile applications, but this one was built to consolidate multiple roles and functions, spanning really what was available in some of our other add-on applications, in addition to being faster and, of course, easier to use. So briefly, the Enterprise mobile app enables sales reps, sales managers, channel account managers, and partner sales reps to more effectively manage their day and nurture customer relationships using a smartphone or tablet. Now, it also has built-in analytics along with a new mobile application composer that's available directly from within the current application composer. And so that provides really an array of configuration options along with this great drag and drop interface. So again, I see huge benefits to every company across the board. As far as the time frame for the availability of this new enterprise mobile app, I believe it's not available in the initial Release 12 upgrade, but will be available in a later update in Release 12. So keep an eye out for that one, of course, and watch the demo so you can let everyone know as soon as it's available. The next theme, Oracle Data Visualization, is not new. It's been available as a platform service for quite a while now, but it's now available as a separate license to Sales Cloud. It's intended to complement business intelligence features that you already have so that you can connect data from Oracle's cloud applications, on-premise apps, third-party apps, and even spreadsheets. And its many benefits are summarized here on this slide. About the new Oracle Engagement Cloud, well, it extends Sales Cloud to service request management and knowledge management capabilities so that sales and service reps can capture and track service issues. And you also have the option of configuring assignment rules to automatically assign service requests to the appropriate queue, so the right team is working on each issue. And then as the fourth theme, and this is really just an FYI, and to reinforce the fact that we're constantly expanding our set of solutions, we now offer a solution for higher education institutions, in addition to the currently available CX solutions for the high-tech and manufacturing, financial services, consumer goods, and communication industries. Now, those are our Release 12 themes, but as you know, there are lots of more features coming with Release 12, and one that I want to introduce here is the group of enhancements related to security and our role-based access control. As you might be aware, we've been simplifying the role structure that we deliver with the product, and that began with Release 10 and what we called the simplified reference role model. So we're continuing with that by simplifying the hierarchy even further. Beginning with Release 12, we're also locking down the predefined roles and privileges. So when you need to customize a role, this feature will force you to copy those predefined roles and customize the copies, which is a best practice that we've been advocating for a while now. And along with that, we'll be resetting the predefined, and I'm talking about the standard roles and privileges, back to their original settings. Now, we're only talking about the predefined roles that we delivered with Oracle Sales Cloud, not any custom roles. You might be wondering why we did that. And we did that because it avoids conflicts when you customize roles and privileges, and it also safeguards those roles for future upgrades. And another security enhancement is that before Release 12, all the security administration functions were distributed across the Oracle Identity Management, the OIM, and the Authorization Policy Manager, the APM. But in Release 12, these functions are delivered through a single interface. That's the Security Console. So OIM and APM are no longer available in Release 12. That means that IT administrators will use the Security Console as the only tool where they can perform functions such as user lifecycle management, role definition, security policy management, that's both functional and data, role hierarchy maintenance, and both username and password policy administration. Now that you've been introduced to some Release 12 features, how can you find out more? That's what I'd like to cover next. Well, if you've been around for a few releases, you're familiar with the resources and sites to access them in previous releases, but I always like to reiterate that information with each upgrade. Basically, we have 3 landing pages to use as starting points for getting up to speed on Release 12. The first is the site where you can access the What's New guide and lots of videos that product managers produce to highlight the new features, and that's on the Customer Experience Release Readiness page. And then we have Oracle Customer Connect, where you can find upgrade information, release update schedules, discussions, and session replays. And the third one is on My Oracle Support, where you'll see more resources as we develop them for Release 12. Now, I can't emphasize enough how important it is to review these materials to fully understand all the benefits and changes in Release 12, because you'll not only be advising everyone about the upgrade schedule and new features that will help them with their work, but you'll also be working with, let's say, sales managers and sales administrators to determine which new features they want to set up at your company after the upgrade. So I want to go into a little more detail on each one of these. Starting with the Customer Experience Release Readiness page. And here I've included the steps to get to that page for your use and to pass along to your sales team, because this is probably where you and others at your organization want to begin educating yourselves on Release 12. You can find videos and PDFs explaining those themes I mentioned at the beginning of this presentation, and then delve deeper into all the Resource 12 features. And that's where you'll find the What's New guide, which is organized around functional areas in the product, and it describes all the new features and how to enable them. It also links to other resources, such as the Security Upgrade Guide, where we provide information about those new features tied to privileges in Release 12. And you'll notice that some features are marked with a special icon, a black diamond, which means that those features will be phased in over the next few updates, but not with the initial delivery of Release 12. At the beginning of the What's New guide is a table that provides some useful information at a glance. It indicates which features are automatically available to you as the administrator, or to your end users, or to your security manager, etc. Now, back on the Release Readiness page, you'll also see an ever-increasing list of videos illustrating some of the new features, and that will appear under a section titled Release Training. As I've mentioned in previous sessions, for my own process, I often start with the What's New guide and then jump to the videos to reinforce or really to see in action what I've just read about. In fact, the feature description in the What's New guide tells you which videos contain more information or demos about that feature. So these resources really complement each other and can help you assess what can be leveraged to improve your sales team's productivity. You're probably already a member of Customer Connect, but here's a reminder as to how to access that site to find more upgrade information and to attend events with topics specific to Release 12. Now, if you attend these sessions in person, of course, you can ask the experts at Oracle any questions you might have. But you also have the option of watching the replays, which are linked from the Customer Connect site itself. The last landing page, as I mentioned, is an article in My Oracle Support. And it really serves as a sort of index of available resources for your upgrade. So it contains a link to this presentation, a PDF file of these slides, and some other valuable information as it becomes available around upgrading or areas that you might need to be aware of, areas that might affect you if you have certain features or certain situations. And because we can update this My Oracle Support article in a matter of minutes, it might contain some information that you'll want to know about before that same information gets integrated into the other resources. So just keep that in mind as you continue to review materials related to your upgrade. So far, I've talked about some Release 12 highlights, and now you know how to get the full range of info about all the new features through those resources and landing pages I just listed. Now let's talk about some guidelines I want to pass along. And I want to break this topic down into 3 areas, starting with a quick description of what happens during an upgrade, which you probably already know, but I just want to quickly summarize. And then I'll talk about some activities you might need to do before upgrading to Release 12, if and only if they apply to you. And then I'll do a quick review of specific tasks everyone has to do before every upgrade. During an upgrade, your environment becomes unavailable during your scheduled dates and times. So first, Oracle updates your non-production environment where you do your testing, and at a later date, Oracle upgrades your production environment. However, some of you might have opted for the concurrent update schedule if you're not yet live. And if you're on that concurrent update schedule, your production environment is upgraded at the same time as your non-production environments. And with the upgrade, the new Release 12 features are added. Now, out of those Release 12 features, as I explained when I pointed out the table at the beginning of the What's New guide, some features are automatically visible to your users. So some will be available and visible to your sales administrators, some to your sales managers and sales reps, some to your IT security manager, etc. Now, these are generally user interface improvements, or maybe a new option that's available to users, or administrative enhancements. So there's no reason to keep these hidden. They're automatically exposed. But I do want to introduce you to one important feature to be aware of, and that is this last bullet point, compliance with data security requirements. So Oracle now protects confidential and sensitive information. Now with Release 12, fields such as Social Security number, home address, bank account numbers, and other personally identifiable fields are now automatically masked if you have customized your page layouts by adding those specific fields to your contact pages. So this helps our customers meet legal regulations and limit liability for them and safeguard personal reputation. So it's a big plus. But if your company relies on that information to do its daily business, then you'll have to take steps to expose that private information, because after the upgrade, values for those fields will not be visible. And I'll talk about this a little more in a minute. So that's the first bucket of features, those features that are automatically visible to users. The second bucket consists of features that need to be enabled by the end user or an administrator, but they can be done with just a simple step or two. And by enabling them, you really have minimal risk of any functional interruptions. So for example, I would classify the enterprise mobile application as one of those, as well as anything that entails adding a field or sub-tab to a page layout, or changing the default setting for a profile option. So all of these are very straightforward and easy to do. And then there are the features that might require some planning. Maybe it calls for some discussion with other people at your organization, or just something you really want to review before setting it up. So one example would be if a new feature simply expands an existing capability to another role. You might need to consult with others to determine if that's something you want to do. Another one of those is in the area of user lifecycle settings with respect to password policy and the rules for generating usernames when a new user is added to your organization. What I mean is that going forward, we support a set of password and username rules. So if you've customized those areas by logging in SR and having Oracle set it up for you, you'll need to select from a set of supported password policies, username generation rules, and notification templates. Now, your users won't experience a change in functionality, but new users you add will have to conform to the rules you select. So depending on who's in charge of that area of the product, that might be an area that you need to discuss before implementing. Also requiring some planning is any new feature controlled by a privilege, which is part of security. Because your IT security manager is probably the person who will add those privileges to your custom roles, which is how you enable the feature. You may know already that the way an upgrade works is if you have not customized your security roles, then new features are automatically enabled for those predefined roles. This applies to roles in the Release 10 simplified role model. If you have customized your security roles, then privileges need to be manually added to custom roles. Okay, so what do you have to do for each of these buckets? Well, with those features that are automatically visible to users, the first group, you really just need to make sure that they're aware of them before the upgrade on your production environment, because you really don't want your users to experience any surprises on Monday morning when they first log in to Release 12. For the next set of features, you just want to wait till the upgrade is stable and then roll out those benefits, communicating to your users as you go. And for the third bucket, you'll need to talk to stakeholders and really set up a time frame to roll out those new features, also communicating changes to all the affected users. You might be wondering how you know which bucket each feature falls into. Well, it's all in the What's New guide and release training, which often describes which predefined or standard roles will automatically inherit that feature. And often overlooked, don't forget about the Release 12 documentation in the Oracle Help Center. That's the general documentation, which doesn't explain the differences between releases, but it might provide insight into how that new feature fits into the functional area as a whole. And you can download versions for offline viewing. Now, here are some examples of these buckets that I've been explaining. So I'm looking at the table in the front of the What's New guide, and I see columns indicating if the feature is available to any user at my company. And I see that for sales forecasting, there are several features that sales reps and sales managers need to know about. So I might point them to the What's New guide, since it's publicly available, and send the relevant information to the specific people at my company. Continuing with sales forecasting, I see a few features that the sales administrator should probably understand and enable if it's beneficial to our business. So I might ask them if they want to expose the trend graph and consider if they want sales reps to be able to make revenue or quantity adjustments to forecast items within their territory. Currently, only sales managers can do that. So if they do want to extend that capability, I'll have to set up a time frame for them to perform those steps, at least a couple of weeks after the upgrade is stable. With regards to features that require some planning, I want to go back to personally identifiable information, which is the data security enhancement in Release 12, meaning that if your company added specific fields to hold personal information about your contacts, then that data will be hidden after the upgrade. Now, Oracle has performed a scan and will notify you if your environment has those fields on your layouts. And this notification directs you to resources you should review, because although this feature is not tied to a privilege, exposing that data is controlled by a security privilege. So let's say that your sales reps or sales managers need to see that information to conduct their business. Then your IT security manager will need to add privileges to those roles. And the resources listed here provide instructions to do that. So have your IT security manager test out the procedure on your non-production environment after its upgrade to Release 12. And then that same person should be ready to do it on your production environment after the upgrade. So your action items for this feature would depend on if you need to expose that information or not. If it's fine to have that data hidden, then you'll just want to tell those who use that contact layout to expect to see the pound sign masking that data. And as I just mentioned, if you do need that information available to certain users, then you have to add privileges to those roles. And it's really one privilege for each field you need to expose. As you can see, most features are opt-in, and this capability has huge benefits. It lets you test the upgrade independently of its new features, take time to determine which new features to roll out when and to which roles, and better utilize your time and resources to schedule rolling out new features. Continuing with other guidelines around upgrading, let's talk about what pre-upgrade activities you need to consider before your upgrade to Release 12. And these are really geared towards specific customers, just a subset of our customers. And I've listed them here. Now that first one is if you started with Release 8 or earlier, you absolutely must perform this task before your upgrade to Release 12. So if you customize the sales account object and haven't yet moved those custom fields and custom child objects to the account or contact object, then this is a critical task to perform now. It's a one-time job that begins with logging an SR for Oracle to start the process. And you must do it now because the sales account object will no longer be available in Release 12. And to help you get started, here are links to 2 documents that explain what the process entails so you can schedule it as soon as possible by logging an SR. And then, beginning with Release 9, we've been telling you to transition to your simplified pages, those duplicates of your original desktop or classic pages. So if you haven't done this yet, make sure you're talking to your CSMs or your ISMs about what's really preventing you from doing that. And again, here are resources to help you with that task. Remember that most of our resources, including help, now describe strictly how the simplified UI works, so much of that information really won't make sense unless your sales team is using the simplified pages. So you really want to get them on that as soon as possible if you haven't already. And the third task is around the security enhancements in Release 12, and it applies to customers who are on the Release 10 simplified role model. And I mentioned that the standard roles and privileges that are delivered with Oracle Sales Cloud are being reset to their original settings. So if you directly customize those, and I mean that you did not copy them first and customize the copies, creating custom roles and privileges, but instead you applied changes directly to the standard roles or privileges, then in February, Oracle notified you about steps that they were taking to preserve those customizations, which may or may not require some follow-up steps by you. So if you're unsure about this, follow up with your CSM or your ISM. You would have already received these emails if our scans identified you as having done this. And again, we're not talking about custom roles, they're untouched. only if you directly customize our standard roles or privileges. And here are the resources that we pointed you to in our notifications. Okay, so those were tasks for only some of our customers. Now to the guidelines for everyone to follow before their upgrade, regardless of what release you started with. So before your upgrade, make sure that your non-production and production environments are in sync. And that means that they should not be significantly out of sync with regards to business or transactional data, system setups, extensions and configurations that define data structure, page layouts, reports, workflows, etc. So if they are out of sync, then you need to perform an environment refresh, or P2T, as we sometimes refer to it. And you must do this a minimum of 4 to 6 weeks in advance of your non-production upgrade by logging in SR. The environment refresh article listed here provides more information. Now, keeping environments in sync means that you need to plan when to stop customizing and testing in sandboxes, because you must publish or delete your sandboxes before your upgrade. And if you're following our best practice of phasing in new features over time, be sure to stop that. In other words, don't introduce new features from release 11 too close in time to the upgrade to release 12. And then we always include this warning. You must move all your customized reports to a safe folder. So now let's move to the guidelines for the phase after your upgrade. You always want to check if there are any post-upgrade tasks that are specific to this release. So look at the What's New guide where there's a post-upgrade task section, and check the Performing Your Release 12 Upgrade article in My Oracle Support. And the second post-upgrade task is to roll out new features in phases. For this task, follow our best practice about releasing the basic upgrade to your users, making sure all the behavior is the same as before the upgrade. So you're waiting till the upgrade is stable and then phasing in the new features a few weeks or months after the upgrade has been successfully deployed. In fact, our recommendation is to roll out just 1 or 2 features at a time. And as I mentioned earlier in this presentation, some of those features are going to be fairly straightforward, while others require some planning. Okay, so now that you have the details around many of the tasks in our project plan, let's take a look at how it all fits together in a time frame. We've broken down the project plan into several stages, and I'll spend the next few minutes describing each of these in more detail. It begins a few weeks before the first phase of upgrades, and it ends with the deployment of Release 12. You do the steps for some of the stages, and Oracle does the actual upgrade on your environments, of course. We have different schedules for live customers versus not yet live customers. And by that we mean that live customers are those who have deployed Oracle Sales Cloud on their production environment. Others are all other customers who are still implementing Oracle Sales Cloud. So notice that we factor in 2 more weeks for you to validate your upgrade on your non-production environment if you are a live customer. And that's really the only difference in the schedule. We schedule upgrades once or twice each year, and they're performed in waves. We first do an upgrade on your non-production environment or environments if you have multiple non-production environments, and then your production environment. Now, how do we determine your initial upgrade dates? Well, for most of you, you'll discuss that with your Oracle contact, and that's generally your CSM or ISM. And based on your feedback, that Oracle contact will request an upgrade wave, that's early, main, or late phase, and dates within that wave, and it's done through an internal tool that's available to them. Now, the process is a little different if you have a multi-pillar environment, which is also known as a global single instance or a GSI environment. In that case, because it does involve several different applications, you select your dates from your My Services Cloud portal from the dates available to you. And of course, we try our best to accommodate those dates. When we do accept those dates, then we'll send you an email with instructions on how to approve or confirm your upgrade dates on both your production and non-production environments. And that notification begins a series of emails and other events to move you through your upgrade. So let's talk about those, beginning with that notification I just mentioned. Everything on this slide is done by Oracle, except for the boxes in green that I'm going to show you. And that's what you'll need to do. So to begin, as I mentioned, Oracle sends you the first email. Again, this email contains the dates that Oracle has scheduled for upgrades to both your production and non-production environments. It also provides instructions in the email to approve these dates. And beginning with this release, it will point you to your My Services cloud portal. Now, this is a change in the process. Up until now, you logged an SR to acknowledge the dates or to request a different date. Now it's through your My Services portal. So be sure to do that within 1 week, even better if it's within 72 hours of receiving the email. At this point, you can request a different date, but it must be in the same wave as the initially requested one. I'll show you the My Services portal and describe the approval flow in a minute, but let's continue focusing on the communications you'll get from Oracle. So next, we'll send you an email confirming those dates for all your environments within 24 hours. If you're planning to do an environment refresh, a P2T, log your SR at this time. That will give Oracle and you enough time before your upgrade to do that. Now, the next 2 emails are reminders about your dates. One is sent about 6 weeks before the upgrade of your non-production environment, and another one is sent about 4 weeks before the upgrade of your non-production environment. So both of these reminders contain the dates for both environments, so you will not get separate reminders for each environment. The next emails that you'll get do apply to each single environment. They come from operations to remind you of the exact upgrade time and date, which we send 3 days before the upgrade of the non-production environment, and then again 3 days before the upgrade of your production environment. And then the last ones are to notify you that the upgrade has completed on that environment. And finally, outside of this email flow, because it's so important, for live customers only, an Oracle contact will verify your schedule with you 1 week before your upgrade is scheduled on your production environment. And that's just your production environment. Now, who receives all these upgrade notifications? Well, all the users whose information we have on the My Services portal, as shown here. So you want to carefully review that information to verify that the names and email addresses are up to date. And here's the change in the process, which involves approving or rescheduling dates for your upgrade through My Services, not through My Oracle support. Once you, as a service administrator, receives the email that Oracle sends requesting that you approve your dates, you sign into My Services for each of your environments, and on your dashboard, click the link as shown here. This opens the calendar with the date, which is color-coded according to the status in the process. And you drill down on the date to approve or reschedule your dates, and accept the terms and conditions, and the calendar reflects the new status. You're also prompted in this new process to specify a technical contact whom Oracle can call if any problems arise during the actual upgrade. Okay, so that's the date approval process through My Services. But what happens if we don't receive confirmation from you within that 1 week window? Well, we'll send you several reminders over several weeks, with the last one going out 2 weeks before the original upgrade date. And that gives you one last chance to reschedule your upgrade. If you still don't respond within 1 week after that final notification, so that's 1 week before your original upgrade date, you will be upgraded on the dates that we originally sent to you. Now the next stage is the review and update materials stage. And we've listed the specific tasks that you should do for this stage. Document your current customizations, prepare or update your test plans, validate against third-party products, and review the upgrade materials. For the first one, documenting your current list of customizations, well, that might entail updating your list with changes you've made in Release 11, or it might be creating the list for the first time. Now, for each item, you'll want to specify the user interface where the change was made. And you might even take screenshots so that you can compare pages and sections after the upgrade. So I provided a tickler to remind you of the areas that you or others might have customized. By security settings, we mean changes your SI might have made or your IT security manager with customizing roles. To help you with tracking security changes, we have a couple of resources. So the Security Console that was introduced in Release 10 lets you compare roles to see what's different between them. And there's also a role and user audit report. And then we provided a template that you can download from My Oracle Support, which helps you capture the exact information you need to record. And here's that link. The second task is to prepare or update your test plans, and that's for both a non-transactional as well as a transactional plan. So for the non-transactional test plan, you want to include the navigation to each user interface that your users typically use. You want to make sure everything renders as expected. You want to perform a few typical queries, and be sure to test it on all the clients used, whether it's the simplified UI or Sales Mobile, etc. Now, the test plan should include running all your reports, and be sure to include executing any non-transactional web services. For your transactional test plan, that one should include generating accounts, contacts, opportunities, forecasts, in short, anything that your sales users normally do. And that means following the task flows of your different end users, whether they be sales reps, sales managers, or another role. Be sure to include running any web services that your company uses to generate transactions, as well as running all critical, ongoing, file-based data import activities that you've set up. And for task 3, if you're using third-party products from Oracle Marketplace or elsewhere, make sure that you include those in your test plans. So verify that the product has been validated against Release 12, schedule testing with contacts at that company, and factor in time to fix any issues. And task 4 is to review upgrade materials. Now, I've already talked about this in detail, but here again are the 3 primary landing pages to access information, now in the context of the project plan. And remember that the What's New guide, as well as videos, are your primary resources for Release 12, since they illustrate the new features and explain how to enable them. Continuing with Task 4, reviewing the upgrade material, as you review all the new features, we suggest that you organize them into 3 categories. And I've touched on these earlier in this presentation. So the first is changes to features that you are using today, those visible right away to your users. The second is areas that may require some adjustment as a result of the Release 12 changes. And then those features that you want to analyze for later rollout after your upgrade is up and running. So for that first category of changes to current features we use, and this is just an example, yours will likely be different, but my list might include these new features, which I want to communicate to the appropriate salespeople at my company. So I want to tell sales reps and channel managers, for example, about the new enterprise mobile application so that they can install it and start seeing its benefits. Or I want to warn sales reps that they will no longer see values in the PII fields. Or they'll have a new option from the Show drop-down list on their opportunity detail page so that they can see what territories are assigned to an opportunity along with the associated territory team members. And then perhaps I want to communicate to sales admins that there's a new tool for drag and drop customizing of pages for the new Enterprise Mobile. And then they can also manually assign a sales rep's territory to an opportunity line when the territory isn't assigned automatically. That lets sales reps forecast an opportunity immediately while the territory setup is being reviewed and updated. The second category is areas that may require some adjustment as a result of the Release 12 changes. One is that you'll need to manually click a button to run the script to update your metadata. Although most customizations made in Application Composer are automatically updated to the enhanced behavior in Release 12, there are a few exceptions. So you'll need to run the script to do that. It's super easy. Just follow the instructions in the What's New guide. And then if your business requires use of the personally identifiable information data, then your IT security manager will need to allow those fields to be visible by certain roles. And then for Group 3, the list of features that you want to roll out after the upgrade is complete and stable. I would further categorize these into ones that are easy to implement versus those that might take planning and discussion. For example, I might add the additional name field to the account layout, since that would allow sales teams to enter alternate names for an account. And then I might make some task templates available, or maybe add analytics subtabs, or add the ability to create call reports from more areas in the product, or add mass update options for leads and opportunities to the simplified pages. These are all features that I read about and watched videos about. But I might plan for even later rollout features such as the use of auxiliary classifications to segment customers for automated territory assignment, or set up additional analytics pages with reports that my end users would benefit from, or create global or role-based layouts for sales campaigns, which might require some input from my sales team. And I've already mentioned the two specific steps that everyone needs to perform as pre-upgrade steps, but now you can see them in the context of the project plan in the time frame that we recommend. The first has to do with sandboxes. You need to publish any sandboxes containing customizations that you want to preserve during the upgrade, and delete all other sandboxes, including those that are in progress. So in that case, either track the customizations you're working on somewhere outside of Sales Cloud, or finish testing them in time to determine if they should be published or not. And the second task is to preserve customized reports. So any reports that you've changed will get overwritten unless you save them to specific folders. Now by save folder, I'm talking about the custom folder under shared folders if you want the report to be available to others, or to my folders if you're not sharing the report. Changes to reports in other folders may be overwritten during the upgrade. As an optional step, if you want to save your customized reports locally and then upload them after the upgrade, follow the instructions in this document on My Oracle Support. So during the next stage, Oracle upgrades your non-production environment, and for most of you this is your test or stage environment. This might take 1 or 2 days, although the upgrade duration does vary with each release. So now let's talk about validating the upgrade, starting with the first task. Perform any post-upgrade tasks specific to Release 12, which we talked about earlier. So as you perform that step on your non-production environment, be sure to track how long it takes, because you'll need to repeat this on your production environment. After you've done that work, you'll want to run your test plans. So give test users access to the upgraded non-production environment, and then execute both your non-transactional and transactional test plans and record the results. You want to evaluate the results, of course, of your test plan, and if issues arise, work with Oracle support to resolve them. So one very important comment: there's only a small window of time between the upgrade of your non-production environment and the upgrade of your production environment. So get ready to validate the non-production environment immediately after you receive notice that the upgrade has been completed. It's very important to tell us about any issues as early as possible so we can address them. Now, as far as time is concerned, we really recommend that you start testing within that first hour. But be sure to notify us within 48 hours of the upgrade about any issues. So proactively engage with us as we work to validate and correct any issues. So if you do run into issues, log in SR right away. And that's log it in the normal way. There aren't any special tags to select. But you do want to indicate that it's an upgrade issue and tell us what environment the issue is on. Mark the severity appropriately, and then you'll want to tell us the flow that produced the issue and how it worked before versus after the upgrade. And you might want to reiterate when the upgrade is going to be done on the production environment so that support is alerted to the time frame. And you know that it's very difficult to postpone a scheduled upgrade unless we have at least a full week before the upgrade. And that's why it's so important to start validating your upgrade right away and notify us immediately of any issues. For task 3, you want to publicize the new release to your user community. So you want to specify the date that you'll be deploying the new release and let them know about all those features that will impact them immediately and that are relevant to your company. Next, Oracle upgrades your production environment. So the last stage is deploying the release. So you'll receive notification that we've completed the upgrade of your production environment, and then you'll need to do these last 3 tasks listed here. Task 1 is repeat your post-upgrade tasks on your production environment. Task 2 is quickly validate your production environment, so use your non-transactional test plan to do a quick check in your production environment, and again, notify us immediately if there are any problems. And task 3 is to make the environment available to your users. So if you disabled the link during the upgrade, you'll need to enable it again. Okay, that's it. Your organization is now on Release 12. Just to summarize the keys to success, become the expert on Release 12 because understanding enhancements saves time. You won't be logging them as bugs. You want to communicate changes to your end users because setting expectations for your users minimizes surprises and possible frustration, and follow the recommended project plan shown in this presentation. For more information, visit cloud.oracle.com or the Oracle Sales Cloud YouTube channel for customer stories and product videos. Thanks for listening. And if you have any feedback on this presentation, please send us an email at the address shown on this slide. Thanks again.